Kylie, you know what will throw a closing off more than anything?
A dead body?
Close.
Okay.
When someone actually kills themselves in the house 2 days before closing.
That'll do it.
Contract in the shadows, deals behind closed doors, money on the table, someone keeping score, foreclosures and mansions, secrets buried deep. Welcome to the stories the agents never keep. Dirty deeds in real estate, hidden lies behind the gate, big money, broken dreams, nothing's ever what it seems. Oh yeah! The dark side of real estate. The dark side of real estate.
So I had this sweet couple that I had been working with, and I had shown them hundreds of houses, literally hundreds of houses over the years.
Oh.
And they just couldn't connect together with a house. Like
Okay.
there was just not one that they were feeling. They just weren't loving it. And
Okay.
young, newly married, we couldn't. Nothing was fitting in their price
That's frustrating.
range. It is. I mean, it's frustrating for them too, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
for me, definitely for
Right.
them, and so we kept. Sorry, people are just wanting to buy houses.
Oh no.
Wait. You sell houses? What the heck?
Well, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just show hundreds of them and never
mean,
sell one.
Either way, you're in high demand. So that's good.
Well,
That's good.
Let me also clarify that this is when there were lots of houses to see. There still aren't many houses to see.
Right.
But we finally got one.
Okay.
We finally got under contract. I was so excited. It was
What a
a good
relief.
house. Yes, they were excited. The journey was coming to an end. Of course, it turns into a bizarre situation.
Well, yeah, of course, because you are involved in
Yes,
a home.
sadly.
But that's why we're here.
I know, right?
That's why we're here. That's okay.
Anything can happen. So the couple that owned the house, super sweet. They were actually friends of a home inspector that I've known for many years, and his wife is a real estate agent. And so they were very close friends, and I was excited to work with all of them. I
Right.
love these people. And the husband had recently retired.
Okay.
So he was always there. And on the showings, he would walk around with us.
That's odd.
It was a little odd, and we were like, okay, well, thank you for being here. He just couldn't let it go. He stayed with us. He walked all around with us. And these people were the
awkward.
type of people who really needed to spend a lot of time in the space, who really needed to kind of just process and see themselves living there.
Yeah.
They were terrified of making a wrong decision.
Okay.
And
A six-figure decision is a big decision.
it is. It is
Especially when you're younger, buying like one of your first couple houses. That's
Right.
a big deal. That's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
So I understand that, but just as a buyer, there comes a point where you try on too many houses and they all start to look the same.
Oh.
And then you're just not happy with any of them.
my rule is no more than 8 houses in a day, because you're going to create the perfect floor plan out of all 8 houses.
Yes. Yeah. But that's where Jay comes in. And he can build you a house. But
He can, but he'll still be like, this will be cheaper. Buy this one.
yeah. So I do understand, being a young couple and just trying to find the perfect house, but sometimes you got to settle a little bit.
Right, you do. You've
You've always made me make a list
settle.
of our must-haves, our pros and our cons, and then we can walk around the house and be like, well, I don't love this, but that's okay. We can settle for this, or we can change this. That's okay.
Right.
We can live without this. I don't think settling was probably the right word, but you can.
There wasn't much settling at your recent home.
No, not at all. She's a beauty. She's
She
good.
is so good.
She's good. She is good.
So this buyer was a police officer, right? So, and he just wanted to make sure he was making a good decision. Didn't want to get into something that he was going to
Yeah.
have problems with later and that they would regret later. So the seller, he was just on the adventure with us.
Okay.
He would go closet to closet, window to window, walk to step with us every way. And so we went back a couple of times. He was with us each time. I had to call and request that he not be with us
Yeah.
on the next time.
Yeah.
And that was awkward, right? That was an
Yeah.
awkward conversation. The home inspector actually came to do the home inspection, and he was there with the home inspector side by side.
That's too much.
It is. And so my heart felt for him because he had recently retired, and I think he just didn't know what to do with himself.
Okay. All right.
And always just happy and jolly, and it wasn't confrontational, and it wasn't.
Well, that makes it harder for you because he was just trying to be pleasant.
Yes, he was. He was just
Ugh.
genuinely interested in what people
Yeah.
thought, and I think in his mind too is, what are they going to discover? What's So pressure on both sides.
Yeah.
And what I had also ended up learning about him is that he wrote poems and poetry, and just how sweet was that?
That's really nice.
Yeah, and
nice hobby.
as you're meeting and learning who people are, and it's I love that. I do this because I want to know everything about you, and so we get through all of the home inspection items, and there was issues with the basement having water in it, and we got a lot of people to look at it. Somebody did a fix to it.
Okay.
But it just really wasn't solving the issue. So we kept going back and taking a look at that. And, again, I told you my buyer was worried about inheriting something that was going to be an issue.
Yeah.
And, of course, water in the basement, nobody wants to inherit that.
No, that turns into mold very quickly, and the water damage. The company that I work for, that we're going to name, is what we do. This is my bread and butter.
That's right. You know all about this.
Love a good moldy basement. so no, it is a big deal. It's a very big deal to
It is a
have
big deal.
that.
Yes. And so there are all kinds of remedies out there.
Yeah.
And but we were just trying to ensure that it was done properly.
Right.
So we had a chimney inspection
Okay.
done, and one of my buyer's agents actually went over there to handle that situation for me, to let them in. Well, everybody was there as usual.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
she called me and she said, okay, there's something weird going on here. She said, the flowers are being delivered every few minutes. The doorbell keeps ringing. Food is being brought. She said, I don't know what's happening here, but somebody, I think, has died. Yes.
And you guys are just in the house looking at the chimney.
Yeah, and I'm like, right. And she said, I feel super awkward that I am here right now because something has happened
Yeah.
that I'm interfering with.
And you can't just say who died.
Right. Exactly. Right.
What's going on? You can't do that.
No, you can't. So I called the other agent and I said, hey, is there something happening that we don't know about,
Right.
because my buyer's agent is over there right now handling the chimney inspection. She said, I forgot all about the chimney inspection.
Oh boy. So yes, something is going on.
She said, we weren't exactly sure how to tell you this.
Oh no.
It's just come right out with it. No.
Well, and again, remember, she's super close to the family. They went on
that.
trips together. They were like really good friends. So
she's mourning as well.
She is mourning, and so she along is like, who cares about a chimney inspection?
Right.
Totally understand.
Yes.
Like-
because when someone passes, you shut work off.
Yes. Well, you try to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she goes and tells me that the sweet seller that we had gotten to know really well, because he was with us literally every step of the way, had hung himself. And I was like, what's that in the house? Like, I had so many questions, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, you don't want to be
You don't wanna be
insensitive.
Yeah, but they're valid questions.
Right. I have to be able to report back to this. We were closing in 2 days. And
So your final walkthrough's coming. You've got everything.
Yes.
Like, that's crunch time.
yes, final walkthrough was the next day. So what do you do? I was kind of at a loss. So I asked, I'm like, was it in the house? Yes, it was in the basement.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is awful. And then I'm like, to put
my
that,
goodness.
to put his sweet wife through that, my heart just sank. And I feel like, is this a common thing with people who have retired? And that's what she said. She said, he had just such an emotional attachment to who he was working. And our identity a lot of times is tied up in that.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't know. Have you looked at any of the stats on
I have. I
what's
have
happening?
looked at some suicide stats, and of course, I'm obviously not a retired male or retired female, but I've struggled with identity issues myself, and mental health and spiritually and things like that, because I don't want to. I think work is something that I do, but it's not who I am. But for that poor man, he obviously took that very hard, and his life was changing with retirement, and then his only other safe place was his home, and that was about to be not taken away, but just that was about to be changed as well.
I agree.
And his whole identity was outside of his family. That's probably just didn't know what to do with himself.
I don't think he did.
No, especially if he was happy, and trying to be involved in things.
Right. He was. He really was genuinely
Oh, that's so sad.
wanting to be helpful.
Yes. So, there are a bunch of different stats for suicides because there's so many variables with that. But in the United States, we consider retirement, at 65 years old. So, for suicidal deaths, 55.7, don't know why 0.7, but 55.7.
Being very precise.
All right, Google AI. Deaths per 100 for men over the age of 85. But I'll have you look at this as well. So per 100,000, about 55 deaths are for men over 85. And thinking about, the men that I've known in my life that were that old, I can't imagine them being, they're just like an old, happy old grandpa, like I can't imagine them coming to the end of their life and them just rather take their life than to finish it out. You've come so far. Oh goodness, that
I agree.
that hurts my heart.
I tell my kids I hope they're pushing my drooling self around till I'm 100 years old.
Yes.
I mean, when I reach that age, I expect somebody to be taking care of me.
But
They better.
Yeah. Technically, in all suicidal general statistics, the men 65 and older represent about 20% of U.S. suicides. Now, senior citizens in general represent about 12% of the whole population. So the whole population is 12% senior citizen, but 20%
we are
suicide.
aging. We're all, as a society, aging. That's
Yes.
what everybody's looking for.
Yeah. And in the United States, I feel that we have pretty lenient gun laws, and I am pro-gun, but because we are able to have lenient gun laws, the number one cause of death by suicide is with a gun.
Wow.
Now, in the UK, where citizens aren't allowed to own guns, a much higher rate of hanging in the UK versus the United States. Because UK, the number one way of suicide is hanging or suffocation at almost 58%. But that same percentage is that with guns in the United States. The firearms are the most frequent source for suicide at almost 57%. And then hanging and suffocation at about 23%.
I would think that the poisoning, I see here that you've got poisoning at 9%, but I would think that would be the highest.
Yeah.
But I guess that would probably be for women.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
would think that would be a higher
Yeah.
percentage.
So talking about, how did the person commit suicide in this home? Did you say that? Did I miss
hanging
it?
in the basement.
In the basement.
Sorry,
yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
That's okay.
I was not selling real estate, but I was answering a business question.
Well, my money machine is going off. Money machine. Like crazy.
So to dig a little bit further into our suicidal statistics, so as you definitely know, the housing market can be really, really good, or it can be really, really bad. But with suicides, there are a lot of caveats and everything. Sorry, let me get off that. Okay. About 37% of suicides in the U.S. Are timed within about 2 weeks of a housing crisis.
Oh, ow.
Interesting. Wow.
Whether it be a foreclosure or a closing, buying, closing, just financial stress. 37% of suicides happen within 2 weeks of a big homing financial
Well,
crisis.
I do tell everybody that I wish I could say we're going to have a blast, but it's awful.
Oh, yeah.
But you also have
Yeah.
to think probably a lot of those home sales or transactions are probably happening because of a
Financial
divorce
stress,
or
yeah.
Right.
stress, something
Right.
else in their
Yes.
their
Like one of
world,
my
so.
colleagues said that people normally don't sell a house for good reasons.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. And to backdate it just a little bit, but it says housing-related suicides doubled from 2005 to 2010, which was a big,
Yes.
big issue. then.
Sadly, I know several people.
With foreclosure-related suicides increasing by 253%.
Whoa. Wow.
2005 to 2010,
Yeah.
huge deal for housing.
Yeah.
But foreclosure-related suicides, that's pretty specific.
That is very specific.
253%.
If you are having any kind of thoughts about that because you are having financial issues, let me just say you can turn your financial world around
Yes.
quickly. Please reach out for help. Please
Yes.
reach out for help. We beg you.
Yes, absolutely. There are several people available, and I know it's got to be hard to ask for help financially. It's got to be hard to ask for help mentally, but just ask. Just ask. It can't be any worse than taking your own life. I definitely think that suicide prevention hotlines can help. Any sort of therapy, spiritual help it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I hate that the seller of that home, was was trying to be proactive and productive, and he was there in his house all the time, and he was happy, and that's so sad that he had worked so hard and come to the end of his life and would rather die than move forward. And he wasn't even,
or felt like that was
the best option
right
for him, for his wife,
yes,
for his family.
It was very heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
So we're having these conversations because we're looking for Jesus in the middle of all of these dirty and dark side of real estate, and in the middle of these transactions. So I told them what happened, and of course they were devastated. And then it's a matter of, can you be okay with this?
Yeah.
And they reached out to their communities.
Okay.
And, of course, I thought in my head, there's a police officer, he's not going to care.
Yeah.
Because of what he has seen and experienced and what he knows. And
Right.
I didn't think there would be any issue there, but I didn't know how she was going to feel about it.
Yeah.
So she reached out to her pastor, and her pastor said, don't be afraid about this. And she reached out to other community members, and of course her parents and whatnot. And they felt okay. So let's go do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
We get there, and the ladder was still hanging,
Oh, gosh.
still up in the basement.
No.
That was a bit much, a little much, and we felt so bad for the family because, they didn't want to have to touch that stuff either. And whenever my buyer walked in and saw that the basement was damp, he said, "That's it, I'm out." So it didn't really have anything to do with that situation. It's just that we couldn't remedy at that moment the basement situation. Now, again, looking for the positives and just finding Jesus in a sad story, she was able to resell it in a few days.
Good.
Because it was a great house, because it was loved so severely, and she was able to end up moving on. But that would be difficult to move on in the same way.
Absolutely.
And
Goodness.
So was it disclosed to since this was such a recent thing, we always talk about disclosing things that happened.
Right.
Did they just put a sign up and say, hey, this just happened? Or
I don't know how they.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they told the next people.
Right. Interesting.
And the next people were probably just so thankful and blessed to have an opportunity to get the house.
Yeah.
And it's, again, it didn't have anything to do with that, but it's always in the back of your mind.
It's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if they knew, the buyers and the sellers knew each other.
Yes.
So that's
because
a big deal.
of how the whole situation went. The new buyers coming in probably didn't have that personal interaction the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and to, what happened to the buyers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They never bought.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh.
What a story.
Oh, my gosh.
A Jenny Williams story. Oh, my.
We have this eternal bond, but they never did buy. They got an opportunity to live in a relative's home, and they took that, and good for them. They got a great opportunity, and that's what I want for anybody, whatever is the best thing for them. But
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, and really good people. And
Jenny, don't you wish as an agent sometimes, after you've gone through this process and nothing happens, you could just send an invoice and go, here's an invoice for 172 hours of my time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Would love that.
Right. Yeah. Goodness.
I know.
Girl.
So
Girl.
that's the story of how
How that came
one
about.
man hanged himself in a basement, and these buyers never bought again. But that's what we do here on, Dirty Deeds.
It is what we do.
We talk about what could happen, and anything can happen in real estate.
Anything. and we will still let you know. There's a lot more Jenny Williams stories. A lot. Right. So we are not near the end. We will bring more
Absolutely.
stories.
So thanks for listening to all these crazy things. Again, at one time I was the wrongful death realtor, and
Yep.
Let's hope that remains in the past.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
So thanks for listening to our podcast. And if you'd like us to answer any other additional questions about this, and again, we beg you, if for some reason you're having thoughts that you don't want to be with us anymore, let me just tell you, I've seen so many people turn financial situations around or turn bad situations into good. And wouldn't it be so much better to not have somebody do a podcast about your story and actually have them do the podcast about your story because you turned it into a success? So take whatever you're feeling and just put that energy and that power into turning your situation around, because we know you can do it, and we know that Jesus is right there walking every step with you as well. So thanks for listening to Dirty Deeds, and we'll be back with another episode soon.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Dirty deeds in real estate.
The content presented in Dirty Deeds in Real Estate is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not constitute legal, financial, real estate, or professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, real estate laws, regulations, and practices vary by state and are subject to change. Listeners should not rely on any information presented in this podcast as a substitute for advice from a qualified attorney, licensed real estate professional, financial advisor, or other appropriate expert. Any stories, case studies, or examples discussed may be based on real events, but may include altered details for privacy or storytelling purposes. References to specific individuals, properties, or transactions are not intended to identify or defame any person or entity. Neither the hosts, producers, nor affiliated entities assume any liability for actions taken based on the information provided in this podcast. By listening, you agree that you are solely responsible for your decisions and actions.
Jenny Williams is a licensed real estate agent with EXP Realty. The opinions and views expressed on Dirty Deeds in Real Estate are solely her own and do not reflect the views, policies, or positions of EXP Realty or its affiliates.